Hello, good morning, and thank you for staying with us on DBN this morning. I am Sandra Ukuru, and I have Mr. Wemimo Odumosun with me to take us through a review on the impact of Millennium Development Goals on Nigeria since the last 15 years. So you're welcome on the program.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad to have you on the program.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Sir, if you will agree with me, the Millennium Development Goal was a charter signed by 189 countries. Correct. In the year 2000. Now, can you give us an overview on what these Millennium Development Goals were intended to achieve?
Thank you very much. You agree with me that the world population is actually growing by the day. And I think this the poverty and hunger and lack of access to basic amenity in the world to actually set a time frame to tackle all these menaces that the world is experiencing. So basically, Millennium Development Goal was actually formed by the United Nations to within the time frame to tackle all these things.
Okay, how effective will you say that the Millennium Development Goals have been since 2000?
Well, it is basically for the fact that the idea of this MDG came up. It has have impact on the problem that the world is facing. But in Africa, it has not really achieved the set objective that much because of certain issues that Africa is known for. We talk of corruption, and that has not really allowed this laudable idea or objective to work in Africa. So I think to the large extent, it has not really achieved within the time frame the objective which it set out to achieve.
Okay, from your own knowledge of these development goals, which of the goal will you say that the Nigerian government actually held and they treated it to a conclusion?
Okay, I think the Nigerian government, both past and present, have actually make an effort in the area of rollback malaria and immunization, HIV. I think they put a lot of effort because this particular menace, if you don't tackle it head on, it does not know boundary. The same way it will affect the people who are less privileged can equally affect the Iron Mantis. So they put a lot of effort to actually tackle HIV, malaria, and polio.
Okay, let me use the case of Ebola as a scenario now. Now, when Ebola came, it was like a blow on Nigerians, and they tried all possible means to arrest Ebola, and it was successful. Yeah. I think follow-up research have revealed that Nigeria had been able to combat Ebola successfully. Now, are you aware if there are structural programs put in place to address the issue of health cases in the country?
Well, as regards the Ebola issue, the vaccine with which can easily tackle Ebola worldwide has not been found. But the best things that I can say that Nigerian government is trying to put in place is to prevent. I think they said prevention is better than cure. I think they've been able to monitor that disease not to come back into the country. And you touch Nigeria, anything that will affect the life of both the high and mighty, they will do everything possible to make sure that it does not occur or reoccur again.
Okay, let's look at the primary health care. One of the objectives, in fact, most of the objectives out of the 8 is focused towards mother and child, to reduce child mortality, hunger, poverty and hunger. If you look at it from the domestic level, it has to do with the women. What should the country do to assist the women empowerment program? What should they do to, empower them so that they will be able to feed themselves? Now, coming to the area of health, do you see that maybe Nigeria had been able to, address the issue of women empowerment, then being able to set up primary health centers that can arrest the issue of child mortality?
Well, I can tell you easily that when you have a country whereby, the people who are saddled with the responsibility to develop our healthcare system does not even participate or use the healthcare system which they ought to use, because every now and then you see those who are supposed to develop this our healthcare system, they don't even use it, they don't believe in it. The day you find our politician, the government officials who are actually using our healthcare system, I think that said it all. You definitely will know that at least our healthcare system has been addressed accordingly. But as long as every little thing, practically every top Nigerian, whether in government or private sector, whenever you hear them that somebody died, they don't die in Nigerian hospital. Recently, you know about a royal father said the issue. Every Nigerian that is somebody will never die in Nigeria. They always die abroad, in UK, somewhere, or developed country. Why is it so? That means that, they don't believe in Nigeria healthcare system. So I believe until that day that happens. But I think the trends are changing because technology has come to bear, and the modern generation are now using technology to monitor their leaders, whether they are doing what they're supposed to do. Talking of empowering women, yes, I think there is a lot of improvement in that line, and women are awakening to their responsibility. They are calling for their right. They are agitating for their right. Within a short distant period, you will see that women will be empowered because they are now agitating that the gender equality must be right.
Okay, now sorry, sir. If you say women are being empowered, okay, let me just say fairly empowered.
Yes, fairly empowered.
Now, which class of people are fairly empowered? Is it the people who are based in the urban or the people who are based in the rural area? Because when you want to address the issue of poverty, the issue of poverty rests more on the rural dwellers, because rural dwellers constitute a higher percentage of the Nigerian population, and here you have a majority of women who lives in the rural settings. Now, how can you equate the level of empowerment, women empowerment in the urban area, to the level of empowerment in the urban, the urban sector?
I'll tell you one thing. When you talk of empowerment, I think it has to start from the mindset. Knowing what your right is, knowing what you're supposed to do at a certain time, knowing the question you have to ask. It doesn't matter where you live. I think women generally are beginning to realize that they cannot continue to be a second fiddle to a man. So whether they're in a village, because you see somebody who is in the village have access to information about our rights, through technology. So in terms of, and the campaign that it's going in around the country, I mean, the awareness is so huge that what you say, when you empower a woman, or when you develop a woman, you develop a nation. So women, I think, they have what it takes to actually address the issue of empowerment, whether in rural or in urban. So I think this thing is radiating throughout the country, regardless of whether they are in the village or in urban.
You know why I'm stressing this issue? I've been opportune to monitor or follow up some initiative program for women, but I came to realize that some of these programs were done for political reasons.
Yes, I agree. But then again, there are more awareness about, because look, there is a limit with which you can push people to the wall, and they fight back. When you okay, look, take for instance, in Nigeria, hardly anything can go unchecked now, because the noise will be so huge, they will hold it in the village, you understand, or wherever they are. The noise will be so huge that, and when there is so much noise about abnormalities or things are not being done right, you will quickly checkmate yourself. They might be doing some certain thing for the sake of politics, but it will have both negative and positive impact, regardless of why the purpose of that particular program or whatever it is. It will always have positive and negative. And I want to believe that nowadays things concerning women empowerment are having more positive aspect than negative.
Okay, let's look at the selected initiative programs that were initiated over the last 15 years. What can you say about these programs? What are even these programs, and how effective have they been?
Well, the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, came up with its own program called NEET, National Economic Empowerment and Development Strategy, that has 7-point agenda. You will agree with me that little did we have or hear much about the needs. You agree with me that the rule of law in everything that every program or idea that come up should come to bear. For instance, when Obama came up with the idea of Obamacare, it went through the United States rule of law. It went to the Congress. It was debated and was passed to law. The idea of every government in Nigeria coming up with NEED or Shopee or what have you, and once they leave the government, we don't hear of this program.
Even before they leave,
died. And you wonder the enormous resources they plug into this thing. I think when a good idea comes into Nigeria, rather than work positively and have impact on the people of this country, our leaders will always find a means or way of just enriching themselves. So that has always been the problem of ideas or program or project that comes. Definitely, we will start gradually forgetting about the idea of shopping, because I can tell you those Nigerians, young people that they said that the shopping have impacted on their life. I think you should reach out to them and ask them directly, how is this program continue to sustain your life or having meaningful impact on your life? Then you can come up with the answer.
No, but I mean it's obvious because even before the last dispensation, the issue of Shopee was, kind of low. The noise was not as high as
it just fizzled out.
It was.
It just fizzled out.
Yes. So I mean, what do you think might have happened to the people that were initiated into this program in the first place?
Well, you see, the point is this, like I said, until we begin to allow the rule of law and check and balances to take place, Nigerians should wake up to their responsibility. We would see a whole lot of corruption, and then we would go to sleep. I think until when we begin to, and it has started. I must confess with you. Thank God to the technology. No matter what you do these days, you'll be featured and you'll be exposed on social media and what have you. And these are things, powerful tools that politicians are beginning to worry about. So everybody is trying to make sure that they do it right. And thank God, the Nigerian image across the world, maybe in a short distant time, will begin to improve. Now that we have world acclaimed non-corrupt leader as a president now, I want to believe that at the end of the tunnel, Nigeria will begin to see the light.
Okay, thank you, sir. You're watching DBN This Morning. You can join the conversation on our social media platform. On Twitter is at DBN Television, and on Facebook it's www.facebook.com/DBN Television. I have Mr. Wemimo Odumosu with me discussing the effects of Millennium Development Goals on Nigeria since the last 15 years. So now you've been mentioning the issue of corruption. What do you think, in your own opinion, that this present administration should do, concentrate more on to reduce or kind of, bring down the effect of corruption in the federal government?
Well, for people to do anything that would suggest that they are corrupt, I want to believe that it's a state of mind. This poverty you are talking about, it is not the amount of wealth you corruptly enrich yourself with. I wonder why somebody in his wisdom will steal $6 billion, for instance. That is the greatest poverty of the mind that you can actually, the kind of description you can give. Because somebody who stole such amount of money, I will tell you that person is completely poor.
I mean, what will he be doing with such sum of money?
Because you see, before you can say you are wealthy, you are a rich person, it is not the kind of car you drive in, or the kind of houses you live in, or the amount of money you've stolen. It is the impact you're actually having, or the legacy you're leaving, and how you impact on your immediate community and the environment, the kind of life of the people you're touching, you're making impact on them. So if the mindset is right, I think, and the orientation is right, that is the foundation of addressing corruption. That is, from that angle, it needs to start. Then you begin to talk about we're building a nation that is going to be corruption free. Look at the present government now. They are finding it difficult to appoint minister. Why? Okay, people say President Buhari is Baba go slow. See, the man, it's like somebody who rented a building or bought a house that is completely dilapidated. Before you move into such building, you have to give it a befitting and a strong renovation. And that is exactly the situation President Buhari find himself. The house has completely dilapidated. There's a lot of rot and everything. And before you invite your guests or you begin to receive visitors, that place has to be put in order.
But how will Nigerians understand that? Nigerians will not understand that, there are strategic ways to attend to issues like this.
Well, you see, the truth of the matter is that you can't heat the food without being cooked properly. Yes, you see, it's just we are so much in a hurry. And that's why, because we are so much in a hurry, oh, yes, he has stolen billions, so let's just continue with our life. We need to take our time to see things being done properly. You agree with me that look at the kind of houses that is falling down these days because the foundation is not right. It's not properly structured. It's not properly built. We don't want to build a nation in a hurry. Something that you have a waterlogged or swamp area. You won't give it a proper foundation. You have to get it right. And I think Nigeria should exercise a little bit of patience. What I want to see happening in this country right now is that yes, we know we know that there's a lot of corruption, and once we are seeing a sign that people are not going scot-free or going away with their stolen commonwealth that we have, I think because until we see Nigeria begin to see that, we will continue to agitate. What's going to happen now? You mean this is going to continue? It's an agitation of Nigeria. Not that they are not patient, but if they are not seeing a sign that those who stole their wealth are being brought to book, the agitation will continue.
Now, addressing the issues of abandoned or unfinished Millennium Development Goals, what would you advise the present administration to do?
I think I would want to advise the present government now that whatever project that they are going to come up with, or maybe they should look at those past projects that the past government have brought to bear and see the one they can actually bring to bear and make sure that the accountability, the transparency of that project is reckoned with. Secondly, I think that such projects should be passed to law. Should be passed to law that, especially when it comes to addressing the life of ordinary Nigeria, so that you don't come in and come up with a project in the past, since the independence of Nigeria. You have Operation Feed the Nation, you have a Green Revolution, and we can't continue to plunge in a lot of resources into this thing, and that will die a natural death.
Do you think that the policymakers still needs to derive policies that will help to sustain existing projects?
I think because we don't have a succession plan in all the projects that we are doing. Before a project can be adopted as a Nigerian project, I think I would want to advise the new government now that this thing has to go through the National Assembly, and it must be made to be passed to law, so that the lifespan of the project can be protected through our constitution.
Okay, what are the likely implications of abandoning the Millennium Development Goals that are yet to be completed? And the basic ones, particularly in reference to poverty and hunger, then to empower women, and then environmental issues. If you go around the 36 states in the country, you see that some states are yet to address some of this issue, especially the issue of environmental sustainability. It's a key factor. Now, what do you think will be the implication if these Millennium Development Goals come to pass by September? It will be over. Now, the Nigerian government abandons it. What will be the implication on Nigerians?
Well, I want to believe that charity begins at home. The developed country, the richest country in the world, make a commitment to actually help the Millennium Development Goals project, through the debt cancellation, through AIDS and what have you. If they begin to see the sign that we as a Nigerian, we are now ready to actually become transparent in all our activities, in all the way we carry our policy programs and what have you, because you can't ask me for what you will mess up, you won't do properly. By the time Nigerians begin to make effort to address all this issue, even with our resources in our own way, it's very easy for developed countries to continue to increase their aid through trades and what have you. I think that in recent past, Nigerians are finding it difficult to even grant a visa to travel all over the world. It is that bad. It is that bad because we don't want to continue to be a bad product to the international community. That's why I'm so happy that within the short period of President Muhammadu Buhari, we're beginning to see signs that the world now, because they're talking about corruption. It's not all Nigeria that is corrupt. We have a good people, but by the time we have a bad leader, it will certainly project us in a bad image.
Well, I hope that Nigerians will, be able to sustain the ones we have achieved already, because when you look at the primary health sector, primary education, I'm sure that within these last 15 years, some children were enrolled into school, and even some adults who showed interest in education went back to school. Now the issue is the people handling this program. What is their commitment to it?
Well, they said morning show the day. When you wake up in the morning and you see the weather that is very cloudy and it's going to rain, nobody will tell you to plan for that weather. We have a new dawn in Nigeria. The truth is, when with the new government now, those who feel that, well, they can do and undo or abandon whatever area of or your position, when you know that you're going to be exposed, or somebody is going to ask you how you, definitely don't bother about whether they will be committed or not. Nobody wants to be rubbish. Nobody wants to be jailed or something like that. So like I said, the morning show the day. When you wake up in the morning and see that it's going to rain, you hold your umbrella. So our politician, be private sector, the weather that we have in Nigeria will now determine, in all area of the endeavor, will determine how they are going to conduct themselves.
Well, I strongly believe that the way Nigeria is going, we'll get there one day, and it's very soon. In fact, some sectors are there already. We are there because we've made some provisions. we just urge that people handling these projects should, make it stand, and so that the children yet unborn will benefit from them. Well, I want to appreciate our guest. So thank you for coming on the program to discuss this topic.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, at least someone out there should have been enlightened and start asking, because I remember that I had interaction with people on the street and some said, I don't know about MDG.
Yes, very soon they will start knowing about MDG. For instance, our refinery have now worked in almost God knows how many years, and nobody is harassing anybody there. Suddenly, we started having enough power supply on a regular basis, and this is what I mean by morning show today. Because Nigeria will certainly look at the weather that is clouding them now, and they begin to do things right.
Okay, that's a good one. I believe we will all do things right. Meanwhile, so I want you to give a word to DBN Television. What do you have to say to DBN Television?
Well, I am happy to be here. When I was asked to come to DBN, I was wondering what has been happening to DBN, because DBN was one of the foremost television stations that have, well received by the Nigerian viewers, and they've done so much in the area of sport, in the area of news and informations. So I'm sure that Nigeria will be happy to know that DBN is back on track, and I want to urge DBN Television to do all what it takes, because they have been in the forefront of television industry in Nigeria, and I believe God will help them to achieve whatever they set out to achieve.
Thank you very much, sir. Viewers, up now to Chris and Libby to continue the rest of the program. I remain Sandra Okoro.